Hi, this is Courtney Rosen, broker and owner of MHN Property Management. We're very excited you'll be joining us as our tenant. Before we send you the lease, you must either pay a traditional security deposit or create a policy with a security deposit alternative program. We love being able to give tenants the options to fit their various life situations. We also believe that the best decisions are informed ones. We'll explore the different choices throughout this presentation. Both traditional security deposits and security deposit alternatives serve the same purpose: to protect the property owner from any potential property damage or unpaid lease obligations at the time of tenant's move out. And regardless of which option you choose, the landlord will receive the same monetary protection. One of the biggest differences between traditional security deposit and a security deposit alternative program is the cost at move-in. For a traditional security deposit, a $1,500 a month rental would require a tenant to send $2,250 to MHN to hold for the duration of their tenancy. One of the biggest benefits of the security deposit alternative program is the cost to move in is much less. The actual amount depends on the individual tenant's credit score, as does the option to make monthly payments. In our example with the $1,500 a month rental, the coverage would cost the tenant as little as $225 a year and could be spread out over the lease in small monthly payments. When juggling the various expenses of moving, reducing one large cost, the security deposit, can be very appealing. There are no ongoing costs associated with the traditional security deposit, and the tenant's obligation is met in full at move-in. However, if the tenant qualifies for and opts for the monthly payment option, there will be ongoing cost. This policy also has to be removed with any future lease renewals, adding to the total cost of the program. It's important to note that money paid to a security deposit alternative company does not go towards future tenant expenses. It pays for a service, and once it is paid, it is very much gone. Regardless of your choice, we will always process charges to the tenant in accordance with the lease and the law. Thus, under both choices, the tenant is responsible for damages that exceed normal wear and tear and any unpaid obligations under the lease. Here's the second biggest difference between a traditional security deposit and a security deposit alternative. Funds given to the property manager as a traditional security deposit always belong to the tenant. Costs for damages and obligations are paid directly from these funds, and the remainder is mailed to the forwarding address provided by the tenant. As for the security deposit alternative program, funds the tenant has paid are gone. They paid for a service. Tenants are basically buying a line of credit that the landlord can charge against. The company pays the landlord, and then the tenant must come out of pocket to pay the charges for the damages and lease obligations and pay the company back. In our example, $500 would be withheld from the traditional security deposit, and the tenant would receive $1,750 in the mail. For the tenant who elected to use the security deposit alternative program, the funds paid for the program are gone, and they would need to come out of pocket to pay the $500. So here's the summary of our two options. The traditional security deposit requires more accessible funds at move-in. There are no additional costs during the tenancy, and it is more cost-effective if the tenant is staying multiple years in the same property. The funds always belong to the tenant and are used to pay tenant expenses at move-out. A refund is issued for unused funds and is mailed to the tenant within 30 days of moving out or end of lease, versus the security deposit alternative. It requires less accessible funds at move-in, but the cost can add up over a multiple-year tenancy. Payments made to the company are gone and cannot be used to pay tenant expenses at move-out, and the tenant must come out of pocket for charges at move-out. With both the traditional security deposit and security deposit alternative program, if charges exceed the coverage, the tenant must come out of pocket and pay MHN Property Management directly. At MHN Property Management, we appreciate our tenants and strive to provide options and information so that you can make the best decision for yourself. Thank you for being an important part of the MHN family.